Hello, this is a replay coaching for a position for Wind Ranger who's unranked, somewhere between Herald and uh, Archon. This is between 0 and 2500 MMR probably, and so I'm going to cover the basics of Dota, as well as start introducing some of the higher level concepts. But in order to play this game, we need to talk about the things that aren't happening, and to understand why the game was a loss, we have to know what we need to do to win. So the first important thing is you need to be able to clear lanes, and you need to be able to do damage to towers a lot faster than your opponents. This is an image of the backdoor protection, and we've all seen this before, where you're trying to kill the tower after you've killed 3 or 4 of the enemies. However, the tower is not taking any damage, and the enemies respawn, and then you have to leave. So being able to clear lanes and get the waves underneath these towers means that you get to take the towers, and you can take advantage of the map. If there's no tower nearby, people can't TP, they can't, it takes them longer to walk to reinforce, they don't have vision in this area. It makes it much safer for you to farm, it makes more dangerous for them to farm. But if you're both clearing waves and killing towers as fast, then in order for you to win the game, you have to slow down your opponents. And this is what I'm talking about as immortality, where you can sit somebody in a lane and the enemies now can no longer push the objective because you're sitting in the lane and you're also pushing the lane faster. Typically what will happen is you'll have 3 or 4 heroes sitting mid from both teams, and then somebody on the bottom lane pushing, somebody on the top lane pushing, and eventually it's about the same speed, so you need to be able to clear them out of one of these lanes eventually. Otherwise the creep wave doesn't move. If they don't have any stuns, then you can still push in this lane without worrying about them killing you. Or if they don't have enough damage to kill you, you can sit in this lane for much longer, and the creep wave doesn't move. I talked about killing your opponent. If you kill them, then you can push the wave much farther than they can. So we talked about this mirror where you have the creep wave mid not moving from the river, and then one person pushing on the bottom lane and one pusher pushing on the top lane. I got that backwards, but that's fine. If you can push only up to this corner and then you have to leave, but they can push up to here and before they have to leave, then they're going to take your base much faster than you are. But if they can't kill you, then you can push it, and then as soon as they come to try and stop you, then the creep wave will disappear or won't move from where it is, so then you leave and go somewhere else. But then if you want to stop them from pushing and slow down their game, you can kill them and then push, or kill them and then push mid, or you can push, and then when you see somebody come to stop you, 1 or 2 people, then you can kill them back. And in order to kill them, you at least need to make sure that they don't kite you and leave your damage area, so that's where slows come in. The stun prevents the TP from going off, so that if you don't have the ability to kill them in less than 3 seconds, then you can stun them and give an additional 1 to 2, 3 seconds of damage. And then if the stun cancels their TP, then they just die. But if you don't have a combination of these 3 things, you're probably not going to be able to kill them. And we mentioned earlier they don't have enough damage, or they don't have enough stuns. That means you're basically immortal. And damage comes in different forms, such as physical damage and magical damage, and there's also pure damage. If the damage doesn't affect your hero, say you're playing a Wind Ranger and they only bring physical damage, you are likely to not die even if they have stuns or slows. So now we can kind of talk about why your game specifically was a loss. after we talk maybe about what your plan is as a Wind Ranger. If you had no other people on your team and you were the solo carry Wind Ranger against 5 opponents, you naturally have a stun, so you can interrupt anyone trying to TP. You naturally have a magical nuke that works very well before people get BKB. It doesn't scale late into the game. You are survivable against physical damage, so you can push relatively deep without fear of being killed. And you can sit in a lane as long as they only bring physical damage. And your ultimate allows you to naturally do damage to towers once the creep waves are there. As a Wind Ranger, you lack a slow. You do have your stun, and it is a long duration stun, but it's not reliable unless you have someone to set it up for you. You have physical immunity, but you need your magic immunity to be able to deal with the opponent. Otherwise, they just burst you down, and your Wind Ranger doesn't help you, so they stun you and then magically burst you, and then you die, and you can't really participate in the fight. And then you lack some scaling physical damage. Your ability to kill people depends on your ultimate, and it does reduce the amount of damage you do, but you tend to not build... You don't get a lot of damage per level, and you don't have unique attack modifiers such as crit or lifesteal that allow you to put out additional damage onto people. And you don't have bonus damage procs from any of your passives like some of the other scaling physical carries. So you need some way of doing damage to them. When we talk about these, you have the same problems and same natural abilities when you're playing support, because you don't have gold. You need to rely on your teammates. So as a support, you naturally have your stun, you naturally have physical damage resistance, and then you have your magical nukes, and then you can do damage to towers. But you're probably not going to be the one doing damage to the tower, but it's an option. The way that you built, you didn't take your ultimate until much later into the game because you were focusing on doing support things, but none of the towers went down. So I'm not going to list that on here because you're not building Wind Ranger to take towers. Support Wind Ranger still lacks the same things, but doesn't have the gold to purchase items to do with it. She doesn't have a way of rapidly clearing waves. She has her magical nuke, but it doesn't completely clear the wave. It does push, but it doesn't get gold from clearing the waves. You don't have a magic immunity, and you don't really want to buy a Black King bar as a support, especially if you don't have gold from clearing waves. And you don't have unique attack modifiers such as crit, slow, lifesteal, things that allow you to scale into the late game. So you need to rely on your team to be able to do those things for you. You have a Medusa, a Centaur, a Monkey King, and a Willow. And since you're starting to get into the higher levels, you can start to think about what your teammates want to do so you don't have to purchase the items yourself. So you have a couple options for dealing with the things you lack. So we need to look at who has the wave clear, who has magic immunity, who has unique attack modifiers, specifically slows, crits, and lifesteal to sustain in the late game. Medusa, first thing, she's naturally tanky. So even if they cast a bunch of spells on her, she should still be able to survive with her mana shield. However, she needs some form of immunity against Invoker's EMP. So buying something such as a Yule's to prevent the EMP from going off on the Medusa would allow her to soak up a lot of the spells and allow you to engage with without having to worry about being nuked down as a Wind Ranger. She also has a way of rapidly clearing waves with the switch shot. Normally, Medusa is using that to farm the jungle, but if somebody is backing her up and she feels comfortable, she could just walk down a lane and 1v5, no problem, just push the lane out and not die. She also has a natural slow with her ultimate, and this works very late into the game against enemies after they buy BKB. People don't really want to engage on a Medusa who's using her ultimate, so she can sit in a lane. She can also show up, and if they decide, oh, I'm going to fight this Medusa, she can use her ultimate. It slows them down. She can chase them and then finish them off if you guys have a way of killing. We look at Centaur, he naturally is tanky. He's got a lot of HP. He's got a high strength gain per level. His ultimate provides a slow to trample targets, and his physical damage scales with his strength. So the more strength he gains, the more damage he does, and he gets bonus damage based on the amount of strength that he has. The Monkey King has probably the most natural resources for your team. He's got a crit with True Strike. It doesn't affect units after they have Black King Bar, but it is good against the PA in the very early game because it has this True Strike. It takes advantage of his base physical damage that he builds, and then it provides up to 200 something % crit, so he can almost 1 to 2 shot the Phantom Assassin early game. He's got a natural wave clear with his combination of Boundless Strike and the stun, the slam, whatever it is. Then he's got a natural slow, so anybody who gets hit with the Boundless Strike is slowed. He's got a disjoint from the transform, and he's got a natural set of stuns. So from what I saw, most of your team, or if not all of your team, has a stun. So you don't really need to worry about people TPing out. And once somebody gets locked down, they're stuck. There's not a lot that they can do about it. The problem is you don't have a lot of slows, except for the Monkey King. So if you're going to be taking a fight, Monkey King needs to not be dead. That way that he can jump in, slow somebody down, and then you guys can finish him off. And then if they decide, oh, I can TP out in the next 3 seconds because I'm kind of tanky, you guys have enough stuns to prevent that from happening. Willow will be helpful for your team because she has naturally scaling magical nukes. She has natural spell immunity with her, I don't even know what it's called, but the thing that makes her non-targetable. And then she's got a natural stun, but this one isn't reliable for solo pushing and killing somebody one-on-one because it's got a 4-second delay, and TP back to base is 3 seconds. So she can't stun somebody and prevent them from TPing out, especially because the route she provides does not cancel channeled spells. So this is more of a team fight, and it is good for setting up your team because it is a targeted AoE stun. And as long as they don't purge it or use Black King Bar, it should provide a lot of team fight ability for your team. So everything on our team allows us to push, but if they're dead, it's not working. And you need to be playing with them the way that you built. So when we come up to why you lost, the enemy had a Phantom Assassin who can rapidly clear waves when she gets Battle Fury. And once she gets Deathless, she can rapidly kill towers because the towers take additional damage once they go into negative armor from the Desolator. So those are the two things that we talked about. And then you lost because you were playing this ganking style and you walked through wards on your way to your gank. The enemy team just kind of left, so your ganks weren't successful. On top of that, your ganks were slow. You rarely TP'd into a gank to help one of your teammates who was being gone on. And you would arrive late, either after the person was dead or after the person you were trying to kill got away. Then when they show 5 heroes, you didn't instantly go somewhere that you could be effective, such as the Void was trying to fight against your Centaur. They showed 5 heroes, and you didn't instantly TP to the lane with the Centaur, who can set up for you and has enough damage to kill the Void early on. And then you built your skills as a support, where you didn't take your ultimate and you weren't maxing your wave clear options. and then you try to solo kill people or walk in without your +1. Like, you don't smoke to their side. You don't walk with somebody who's going to kill them, and then you kind of show up late to fights, but you don't have the ability to finish people off. So I see you at the very beginning start casting your power shot, and that would finish people off. But as people get more HP, your power shot doesn't scale as well. So you need that physical damage to be able to finish people off. And if you're walking around alone trying to kill people, pinging, you as a support don't get to decide what your teammates are going to do. You can only really help them do what they are going to do. So let's go in and actually watch this game. If I have it loaded. I do not have it loaded. Where is Dota? Game capture. Display capture off. There's Dota. Okay. And then we'll just grab the replay code. Copy and paste. Thought I had it downloaded. Okay. Takes a little bit to start. I clicked watch. There we go. As a support, you don't really have choices in what you draft. You typically will pick first. Wind Ranger isn't bad as a support. And then you have the option of building Wind Ranger into a core later if your teammates are having a bad game. As a 4, you can leave your lane relatively early once the lane pushes in and your positions 3 is underneath their tower, and you do that. Your early game rotations were relatively good, but you don't set yourself up to scale. You weren't pushing lanes to set up. Your vision was good, so there were options for you to see them, and that was helpful, and I liked that you were warding. But everything you were doing was just relatively slow. Speed up. So mangoes, fairy fire, and regen. So this is good, and you have your wards. You have a salve for your centaur, fairy fire for bonus damage, and burst heal.
Easy breezy.
The battle begins.
We ward the camps. If I go back, is that blocking the camp? I think you blocked the camp, and that's fine. That means they can't pull once the lane pushes. Yep, okay. That's fine. That one will probably get dewarded. Normally I like to put the wards over here. If you grab a sentry and you stick it here, and then they don't place the ward in this area, which gives them the most vision, then they don't catch the sentry, and they have to put additional sentries to try and find it. And putting it in this box behind a tree means that they don't see it. You can even cut a tree over here with one of your tangos and stick it in the back, and then when one of the trees respawns, then it's even harder. But it takes 5 minutes. This one lasts 8 minutes. Yeah, so you get 3 minutes of this not working, and then having to struggle to try and find it. Player perspective. We're sitting in the lane. This is okay. We can see the Pudge. As long as we can see the Pudge, we don't need to sit in lane and help. We can't really contest the Void here. So you have a couple of options at this point. The large camp is already spawned, so you can walk over and start pulling. And they're not harassing your Centaur. You guys have level 2 first, so if they walk up, you can start doing something. But you're not going to be able to do anything off of this level 2 unless your Centaur decides, oh, I'm going to commit. You can ask him if you're in comms. If not, you can ping. If not, it's not a big deal. Then you just say, I'm going to go pull, and then you pull the camp, and now the lane is all the way back here, and Centaur gets a free lane. If they try and contest you, you're level 2 versus 2 level 1s. Pudge doesn't really have anywhere he can stand to go for a weird hook, so you get a free level 3, and then you can start killing them. But right now you can't do anything off of this because they're underneath their tower. And then you can't leave the lane because it's so far up. So just pulling it back means you can sit here, and once you pull the back, because you've blocked this camp, they can't do anything to really recover, because you can just kind of sit here. You have your stun. You can block them from pulling. You can pull early so that they can't pull the large camp back. And if they do, you get free creeps, because Centaur has the AoE Stomp. Void has no way of really clearing stacks or clearing camps quickly, and they have a Pudge because they'll be able to stop you.
First blood.
So now you go for the pull, but the lane is already kind of far back. What are we doing? What are we doing? Harassing the Void? This is okay. You made them both leave the lane for some reason. I don't know why the Void doesn't move. That's okay. Notice that as soon as you left the lane, they're like, where did Wind Ranger go? So they came to try and deal with you. And do we know if they have a ward here? Play, and we can see their vision. That's your sentry. They have a ward here, so you show on a ward when you came back this way. This lets them see the camp. But if they're all the way back here, they can't really do anything to contest you, to walk up and block your pull. Your sentry sees if they block this large camp. It looks like it is... No, it's not blocked. Okay. But I still think you could have gotten this pull off maybe 1 or 2 minutes earlier, even if they had the sentry, or the ward. And then this aggression could have been done at level 3. Wave could have been back here while you were farming it. And now your Centaur is relatively safe. They're not going to be able to dive him under tower. They're not going to be able to hook him into some trees. So even though he's half HP, maybe you can give him a tango or something. He's level 3, they're level 2. You can leave the lane and go do something else. Give him more solo experience.
You expected that.
You don't specifically have kill threat right now. You would need to land a shackle shot off of a stomp, so you can be in position to get a shackle shot, but you don't have enough damage.
Is under attack.
Oh, here's the double edge. There's the stomp. There's your kill threat. So it's okay that you stayed. But your Centaur died, and you shouldn't have probably done that. Doesn't have enough HP to do it. So a gank somewhere else would have been more effective, and once he gets more HP, then he can go for it. Or you can salve him up before he can go, or give him a tango, make sure he's full HP before he does something like that. You have 2 more tangos, so you could give him 1. Does he have tangos right now? He does not have any tangos, so he didn't have enough regen to do that. That was his mistake. So now that he's dead, you just sit in the lane and you play as a core. So you just get last hits. Centaur is still dead. Missed one. Oh, that was a deny. Never mind. That's fine. then they saw your ward. Before placing wards, place sentries that can see whatever ward it is, break their ward so they don't break your sentry or break your wards. Yeah, your sentry got dewarded before 8 minutes, so the placement of it was relatively lazy. You could have hidden it somewhere, make sure that they don't break it, that way they can't pull. I don't think the Pudge actually pulls, but it is an option for you, or it is an option for them now. And now you have to go over and contest the Pudge if he's missing to try and block his pull.
It is denied.
You do have a level advantage. Just nuke the wave out and then pull it back. You could be pulling right now.
Mine! What can I say? Nature loves me.
Well
You left the lane, and the lane is very far forward. We could have pulled much earlier. And then after the pull goes off, then you can go over, grab the rune, and then if they try and come to deal with the pull, then you can kill them with the Centaur Stomp. You have kill threat because you have Stomp, Shackle Shot, and then Power Shot to finish them off if they're running away. Problem is, the lane is too far forward, and now if you leave, Centaur is at risk of dying even though he's got a level advantage over them. But you're going to help out your Monkey King, who's losing the lane.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
Bingo. It's fine. Where are you? If you're going to help with the 4-minute power rune, this is way too late. For some reason, this didn't get picked up immediately at 4 minutes. And if you're going to do that, your lane needs to be back here. That way your Centaur is safe, and then you can TP back and help immediately if you really need to. But this just happens way too late. And then you grab the rune and try and help with the gank. Try and finish her off. I don't know what you're saying to your Monkey King. We don't know what his status is. He's got 12 seconds left on Boundless Streak. But I guess you finish her off. There's your slow. She dies. So that was a fine gank.
Didn't your sisters warn you about the assassin?
Centaur's half HP. We're wandering around
Radiant's
instead
middle
of getting
tower
back to
is
the
under
lane,
attack.
instead of regenning, and now you TP. Oh, I guess you went to go try and grab this bounty rune. That's fine.
An artful death.
As you were TPing, you're not doing anything. You can't really interact with anything. Items were not queued up. You have items delivering now, but this could have been done 10, 15 seconds earlier.
No.
And then you'd have full HP. You have some mangoes ready to go if you really need to use something. Now you're pushing with the cart. You're ganking mid, but this is more important. You have a cart alive, you don't leave the cart by itself. Sure, Monkey King's pinging for help, but he doesn't have a cart. You're pushing right now. This needs to be more important than trying to kill this PA who's mid.
Double damage.
And Monkey King dies. So if you're going to help him, TP as soon as you see that happening where he's getting gone on. 2 to 3 seconds. Bam. Or 3 to 4 seconds. You have a TP ready. So your gank was a little late, but he messed up. This is more important. If you put pressure on this void to make him leave, and you start trying to kill this tower, this Pudge has to come back. He can't sit there and try and deal with this. You trying to save your Monkey King rather than putting pressure means that the enemy team is exerting pressure on you, and you are slower than them. And now you walk back. This guy's half HP. He doesn't want to use his double edge when he's this low. Do you have a salve? You have tangos, not enough salves. You should have a salve ready to heal this guy up. That way he can double edge for you, and then you can finish people off. It's level 6, now you have your slow, and then you can stun if you really need to. You're probably not going to get the void if you get the slow, so you need enough chain disables to kill him, but you can kill the Pudge once you get on top of him.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You can ask for help from your Monkey King because he's losing his lane. He doesn't really feel inclined to stay against this PA who's going to kill him eventually. And that brings you an extra set of stuns and slows to try and kill this Faceless Void. Plus, you with Windrun and Monkey King with his Primal Spring. He's got 1 point in it. He can use that to follow up on the Void. You can ask him, hey, can I get an output bottom? And we'll take this tower. It's 8 minutes into the game, and everybody's still trying to fight it. He's got his ultimate. This would have been much better over on this tower. And sure, you get a kill on mid and start trying to take this tower and starts rotating, but this would have been an easier tower to take. You got a kill on both Pudge and PA, so this is decent. Monkey King is now too low to do anything, so we don't want to sit next to him. He should be getting regen, going back to base, healing up, doing something. And he's got Jingu, which he can use to fight, but against this burst damage and disable, it's not going to work. So we need to go and put pressure and help our Centaur, who's also able to almost kill this Void. So let's watch. He doesn't want to use double edge right now. Just a little bit of disable. He dies, and then you take this tower for free because you had a card. But the card is now dead. You have another card coming in 10 minutes.
You're not going anywhere.
Have another kill, so this is okay. This same pressure could have been applied here, and you would have gotten a tower. You've killed them 3 times, but haven't taken the tower.
Radiant structures
Now Monkey King
are
has no
fortified.
mana.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You have no mana.
This offering.
Items are on the courier,
Radiant's
so you
top
need to
tower is
wait.
under attack.
We get the bounty. This is okay. This tower could have been dead 5 or like 2 or 3 minutes ago. And now we're awkwardly sitting here with less than full
Radiant's
HP,
middle
or
tower is
less
under
than full
attack.
mana. And clarities. Clarities plus mangoes. You have enough for clarities
Dire's
plus
middle
mangoes.
tower is under attack.
You use 2 spells, and now you don't have any
I
mana.
don't need to brag. I let others sing my praises.
I like this TP over to the Medusa, but it happened late. Recognize that the only thing that kills Medusa is EMP from Invoker. So she's half HP. Invoker says, oh, let's go kill this Medusa. Where's Invoker? Invoker's dead, so
Radiant
Medusa's fine doing this.
structures are
We skip
fortified.
forward a little bit.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
I accept this offering.
Medusa,
Radiant's top tower is
Invoker
under
spawns
attack.
in 2 seconds and says, oh, I have spells that can kill. EMP, TP's in. Chain disable plus EMP. It takes up some of her
Radiant's
HP or
middle
her
tower is
mana,
under attack.
and then they follow up and start killing her. And she doesn't have mana shields. She doesn't have any points in
Dire's
mana
middle
shields, so
tower
never mind.
is under attack.
It is bad.
I don't need to brag. I let others sing my
But
praises.
she dies. And that is one of your wave clear. And then Monkey King starts dying, and that's also one of your blade clear. And now that both Monkey King and Medusa are behind, you aren't going to be able to push against their PA. But you've been killing their PA relatively fast. Monkey King is level 10, so he's kind of ahead, but he doesn't push as fast as the PA with, what's it called? Battle Fury. And then we look at your Medusa. She's level 8. The Void is level 8, so you guys are slightly ahead, but not as much as you feel like you are. Because only the mid tower is down. Sure, you have control of this room, but you're not taking advantage of it. You're not invading this part of the map. You're trying to hold this tower, which doesn't get you anything. You start taking fights around this tower. Monkey King rotates over to try and kill the Magnus, but the Magnus isn't a problem.
This should make my life easier.
Now they're putting a bunch of heroes over here to try and kill your Centaur.
Dire's top tower
You don't
is
have a
under
TP
attack.
for this.
Two of a kind.
They kill your Centaur. Because he's getting slowed and doesn't still purge.
Radiant's top tower is under
But
attack.
this is an even trade.
I survived the
You
eruption.
get a tank kill for another tank kill. And then you have more tower damage than they do, but this tower doesn't mean anything. This tower doesn't really mean anything. This is the fight we wanted to take. This is the fight we wanted to win. If they're fighting over there, you just push this
Radiant
wave and
are
threaten
scanning.
to take this tower. It's more important than over here. Or if your team can Roche, I don't think you have a Roshing team.
Dire's
If your
top
team
tower
can Roche,
is under attack.
then you take Roche. Well, they're doing that rather than trying to fight over here. And now we're going to awkwardly stand here. This is a problem because we don't have vision in this area. I have Fog both teams, but if we look Fog for Dire, you can't
Dire
really see
are
them. A
scanning.
ward right here would be great. If you want to take a fight, you can take a ward right here. Sometimes it's better to fight over here, but most of the time, if I'm going to be warding pre-taking this tower, I'll stick the ward right there. Because especially in lower level games, this is where people
Dire's
like to
middle
stand
tower is
for
under
instance.
attack.
My name shall live on.
Notice they used Chrono. Magnus is dead, but he used RP. And Pudge's ultimate doesn't really matter, and Invoker doesn't have an ultimate per se. So they use their long cooldown spells. You guys have shorter cooldowns in 90 seconds, 160 seconds, 130 seconds, and then 110. You don't have your ultimate yet. Centaur's ultimate is 110, so your ultimate cooldown is much shorter than them, so you can just start running at them as soon as they use Chrono and RP. This fight you probably lose because they use these big cooldowns, so you just leave.
Radiant's top
Now you start
tower
pushing
is under
mid.
attack.
We know that they have 4 heroes here. You have a TP scroll. You don't have enough TP scrolls, in my opinion, but you can shove this wave out if you have wave clear. Medusa can shove the wave out because she has points in split shot, and she has points in mana shield. And she doesn't have her ultimate, which means she is less survivable, but she can still push this lane out. Monkey King can push this lane out. I don't know where he is, but he was doing that. He's pushing this lane and trying to kill the Magnus instead of trying to push the mid tower. That's okay, I guess. It's not wrong. You don't have a Roshing team, so getting this tower is better than nothing. He could be helping over with this fight as soon as everybody's regened. You don't have enough regen. You should have gone either back to base or grabbed some more mangoes. Missing half of your mana is it's a big deal, at least before going into this fight, and you just sitting here not getting more mana. Having more mana will get you to your blink dagger faster, because then you can get more kills. Then they take this fight. Not necessarily a good fight, but enemies were showing a bunch of heroes, so that's fine. Instead, you as a support don't have the tools to take this tower on your own. You don't have the tools to kill this Pudge on your own. Medusa doesn't feel comfortable pushing the tower against the Pudge for some reason, but that's okay. And then they decide to take a fight over here, so you start running instead of TPing. You TP over, it's 3 seconds, maybe it's the same amount of time, and then you win run up. Maybe it's about the same amount of time. I don't think you're going to get to this fight fast enough. I want to look at your vision and see whether or not they show a bunch of heroes. So they're showing 1, 2, 3, 4 heroes. So your team knows, oh, there's only 2 people on the side of the map.
Radiant's top tower is under
Now they
attack.
TP somebody in. So now there's 2 heroes on this side, there's 2 heroes on this side. Not necessarily a good fight, but not a bad fight. And then you rotate over as you see a fight
Radiant's
happening.
top tower is under attack.
That was about 3 seconds. Maybe 4, and now your teammates are dead.
Radiant's middle tower is under attack.
You got some tower damage off with the catapult, but your team isn't grouped up, and you can't push to the advantage when your team is split up like this.
Radiant's
You
middle
also don't
tower
have
is
any
under
vision.
attack.
No, that's your vision. Never mind, it's fine. You had vision in this area, you had vision up here.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And Medusa TPs to the most passive part of the map.
Haste.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
And now you're on the most aggressive part of the map, but you don't have enough wave clear.
Ah, fresh meat.
And then they show a bunch of heroes. So to push one more wave, and then you run over here, but you don't get anything done. Takes you a relatively long amount of time to clear this wave. Your invoker's bad, or their invoker's bad.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
And then you run in instead of TPing. TP, you kill this void, probably, because you have to run and you have to stomp. He's still got chrono, so you might get chronoed, but I think you have enough damage to kill him now that Centaur has, where's his strength? 64 strength, and he gets a percentage of that. 120% of his strength. So he gets an additional 200 something with double edge. So now we go and try and gank this void. If we look at their vision, they got a ward and a sentry right here. So if you're going to do this, you need to be smoked. I don't think he's checking your items. You can just have the smoke in your inventory. He's like, oh man, they smoked. Whoops, I didn't know. But you just show on vision here. You're also standing on this creep wave with the Centaur. So Void knows there's 2 heroes here, and he can just leave if he wants. And then run through their ward and their sentry. And Void is like, oh, they're over here, and he's pinging. Invoker's pinging, I'm on my way, I'm on my way.
Ah, fresh meat.
He doesn't show up because they killed the Monkey King.
Radiant structures are
But now he
fortified.
comes. I thought. Oh well. But you're just standing here on this creep wave not doing anything. They can see you. If they can't see you, then you're a threat. Especially because you have the follow-up stun. So if they decide, oh, I'm going to go on this guy, you can maybe stop them, or you can return, like counter-initiate. Lots of more options instead of standing here, where they know where you are. So they can decide, oh, I'm going to go on your Monkey King now because you're showing. Because the Wind Ranger is not a threat on this part of the map. They got to go 3 heroes on you because you know you were showing on this creep wave on this ward, and then the Monkey King is up here, and then that's their team. But they know your team is not a threat because you're so spread out. And this Monkey King who's alone, they're just like, oh, we'll go on this guy. He's not got any help. And then he jumped up. They saw him, Pudge hooked him, and then he dies. So that was a Monkey King mistake, not necessarily your mistake, but the fact that you were showing on this part of the map means that your Monkey King, if he's not paying attention to what you're doing, he's going to die like this.
Radiant structures are fortified.
And we look at your perspective. No heroes showing this is dangerous now.
Visibility.
They show 1, 2, 3.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
Where's number 2? There's 3 heroes, 4 heroes. And then we run away, try and regroup with our team.
Radiant are scanning.
See the courier.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
At this point, you got smokes. Where are you? Very perspective. You got 1 smoke. I don't know who's got the other one, because I didn't see any smokes come out. Willow's got a smoke, and it hasn't been used.
Radiant's middle
Running
tower
at people
is
as
under
soon as they
attack.
show 5 heroes. Now I'm just have to fudge the map. The vision over here is good.
Radiant's courier has been killed.
This gank in the jungle that you were pinging earlier, once you had that vision up,
Dire's top tower
they got a
is
ward
under
right
attack.
here. Didn't clear that out first. You had something like 7 sentries.
Bounty, which manipulates.
Radiant's
Shows
middle
on this
tower
wave,
is
or
under
on this
attack.
ward. You show on the ward, and then we run and try and do this gank, but they're like, oh, we see them. I'm sure you got a vision right here. You have your own ward, but you didn't get the sentry out
Radiant's
of the ward.
courier has been killed.
And then they kill the Monkey King because they say, oh, we got 4 heroes and only bought 2. So then they kill you. Or they
Dire's
kill your
middle
Monkey
tower
King.
is under attack. Radiant's
And
top
again,
tower
this is the
is
guy
under
who's going to be
attack.
pushing waves, killing towers. This is the person who's going to be pushing waves, killing towers. And sure, Medusa's getting free farm. Where is the PA? PA is level 15. Your Monkey King is now level 14, so he's behind because he's been unsuccessfully ganking and he's been getting killed. And then your Medusa is level 13 and Void is level 13. So now the game is slightly in your opponent's favor, even though you have the mid tower and they haven't taken any. They are more likely to win the game now. She's got a Battle Fury. They're going to be pushing much faster than your team.
Bounty.
But you have a catapult. Medusa takes the tower.
Dire's
Not
middle
worried
tower
about the
is
Pudge
under attack.
TPing in.
Radiant's top
And they
tower
put
is
pressure on the
falling.
Pudge.
life
Hey,
easier.
Pudge, leave me alone.
Dire's middle tower is under attack.
We know
Dire's
that
bottom
Pudge
tower
TPs,
is under
so now we
attack.
can run at somebody and know that Pudge isn't going to come. This is a great time to smoke. Great time to roach. Waves get pushed out. I don't think your team has roaching lineup. It's awkward to do a gank on the side of the map, especially without a smoke, because you have this vision here. You know where they are, where they're not, so you can say, "Oh, there's this guy. Oh, that's you. Never mind." We have your vision, free camera up. Run at this PA who's showing. But typically what will happen is you take this tower, and then you smoke, and then you run up and you invade their triangle if you're stronger, or you go Roche. Otherwise, you just farm this area of the map. And right now you're farming in an area that has no vision, and then you're trying to take a fight on the side of the map that has no vision. If we look at Radiant's vision, They put a sentry up here. They got 3 heroes standing in the triangle. They have more vision than you. If you walk up and try and take this fight, you guys die. This is a bad fight. But then they show 1, 2, 3, 4 heroes. And then you decide, okay, we're going to run at this Pudge because he's really close, but look at your Centaur. Centaur is right next to the Void. If everybody TPs in, smokes, and runs at this Void, they can't do anything, and then he dies before he gets to use Chrono. You push, you take this tower, and they have to fight 4v4. Or 4v5.
Haste!
Where are you? Now you have Blink Dagger. You decide, hey, let's go on this Pudge because he's really close. But Pudge is tanky, and you don't have, like, Pudge, in order to kill him, you kill his team, and you slow him and make sure you can't get to his team. And then he dies from attrition because he doesn't want to fight, but he can't get away. And then you have to TP if he tries to take the outfit. But you got baited by the Pudge. Instead of Void, who was right here, you could have TP'd over to.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
And the Centaur's trying to take this tower, but he's not necessarily the one to take the tower, and then he dies because of the countless bunch of damage. Oh, he doesn't die. Wonderful, but he's very close. Very close to dying.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And now we're getting into the 20-25 minute mark. Play perspective. And you as a support are going to have some troubles once people have HP around 25 minutes. They have physical damage that can kill you, like MKB. They have scaling magical nukes that can kill you, like Invoker and Magnus. And then long duration stuns like the Chrono. What else? She has Basher, which means that if she hits fast enough, she can cancel your TP if you want to get out, even if you have physical damage immunity. The fact that you can't get out if they have slows, and PA's got a slow. What was the other thing? Oh, BKB. She doesn't have a BKB up. She's building Deso, but eventually, around 25 minutes, physical carries tend to get BKB. MKB from the Faceless Void means he's going to be able to kill you now.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
And your impact
Dire's structures
now
are
drastically
fortified.
falls off, and you haven't set up the game
Dire's
for your
middle
Medusa or
tower
your
is under
Monkey to
attack.
reliably hit towers and take them down individually.
Dire's top tower is under attack.
So I want to point out that your teammates are struggling, and some of it is because you're showing on creep waves that you don't need to show on, and it gives the enemy comfort knowing that they can run at your Monkey King or run at your Medusa without punishment. But at the same time, you're also trying to set up for your teammates, but you're not the one to initiate. The person that's going to initiate is maybe your Centaur, who can stomp, who can use the ultimate to chase people down. If Centaur is fighting somebody and they show 4 heroes and you TP into the closest tower to your Centaur, then you are more than likely to get a kill, or at least force enough responses that your Monkey King can do something on an opposite side of the map, or your Medusa can freely farm on some opposite side of the map. But right now that's not happening. And then you take this fight where you don't have enough damage to kill people, you don't have enough stuns to be able to kill people. And then they use a bunch of AoE spells and then the next die. And if this kind of fight had happened earlier around this part of the map, while your other carries are farming, then you don't immediately lose a tower because you have shorter respawn times. They don't have the same amount of damage to be able to kill that tower. Like, Pia killed it almost instantly because she's got this Deso. And your Centaur was sitting here hitting the tower 4 or 5 times, and it's only a tier 1. It didn't go down. but now PA is online. Void is online because he's got his MKB, and then Magnus has enough damage. He's got a Force Staff and a Blink, so Magnus is online.
Dire's middle tower
He's got a
is under
Spirit
attack.
Vessel, so now he can
Dire's
stop you
middle
guys
tower
from healing
has
from your
fallen.
Centaur. Spirit Vessel maybe isn't that good this game, but he's
Dire's middle
accumulating
tower
kills,
is
so
under
it's not a big
attack.
deal. And this is just going down. One person hitting
Dire's
it.
bottom tower is under attack. Dire's bottom tower has fallen.
Return some kills. Fighting back.
This should make my life easier.
There's some slows. But the Basher makes it difficult for her. The fact that the entire team had died means that
Dire's
she can't
middle
really do
tower
anything
is
to
under
participate.
attack.
Now you guys
Dire's
are
middle
behind.
tower
They
has
have
fallen.
more wave clear than you. You don't have enough wave clear, even though this is maxed out. And this is maxed out. They just push towers so much faster than you. You don't have your ultimate yet either. So even if you get some kills, you're not going to be able to get this tower fast enough. You don't have a Roshing team. They do. They can clear Rosh relatively quickly. So you blaming your Widow for building Midas Mask of Madness isn't the problem. The problem is you just need to group, or you need to be playing off of the people that are going to actually do things, or making space for the people
Dire's
that are actually
middle
going to
tower
push
is under
waves
attack.
when the enemies are distracted. And the problem with low MMR is even if you are getting 4 or 5 enemies to show on this tower and stand here because you're threatening to take the tower with your ultimate, which you don't have, your Monkey King is going to try and push this wave regardless of if you're doing that or not. And then they can run at the Monkey King even though your monkey should be safe enough by himself and be able to jump out. It's not going to happen. Your Medusa's not going to be pushing waves urgently, even if the enemy is showing. So sometimes you have to be able to do it yourself, even if you're playing support, building to make sure that the game progresses for your team rather than just going for kills. Because you had more kills than them at the very beginning, but the kills at the beginning don't matter, the kills at the end matter. And you're not the person who's responsible for that, especially because you don't have your ultimate, and that's fine, you're a support, and you're not going to be building damage items to take advantage of focus fire later in the game, but at least 1 point in your ultimate means you get to kill the tower. Like, wind run plus focus fire means you can stand underneath the tier 1s and kill it whether or not you have a creeper kill. And now you're trapped in the game is just going to slowly encroach on you and you're going to feel trapped. And there are times where you can recover, especially when you have like a Medusa or a sniper and they just can't push. But the fact that they have control of Roche, they've taken all your outer towers, means it's very unlikely that you're going to win this game, especially because you haven't taken any of their tier 2s and you don't have anyone who can cut waves or split push. Maybe Willow can, but that involves Willow smoking at a base and starting cutting waves, and that's not going to happen at this point in your Dota career. Most of your team is just going to sit in base and then delay the game by preventing the enemy team from pushing, but eventually the enemy team is going to be farther ahead. So we're at 17.
Dire's bottom tower
In 10
is under
minutes,
attack.
I expect 30,000. So, sorry, we're at 27,
Dire's middle
and
tower
it's not
is
even
under attack.
10 minutes, they're already 30k ahead.
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
So focus on making sure that the outer towers go down more than killing the people. The reason that you would build to kill people is Monkey King or Medusa can't push a wave if somebody is showing. And the person that Medusa cares about who's going to kill her is the Invoker. But you don't like getting magically nuked, so you're not the person that's going to be able to deal with this Invoker. Monkey King doesn't like getting chain disabled because he can't hit back. So if you can kill the Void, Monkey King is now able to split push because he doesn't want to get chain disabled. Or if you can kill the Pudge or the Magnus, then you don't need to worry about your Monkey King. So you would build specifically to kill the people that you're good at killing and not dying against because he's got physical damage. And that allows your Monkey King, oh, this guy is dead. He has no chrono that can threaten to chain stun me. I can walk up very deep on this wave, and I can push as soon as something else happens on the map. So that's why you would build as a support to try and gank somebody else on the map. He was dying because you were showing somewhere that you didn't need to show, and you weren't really doing anything. So the enemy team just kind of ran at him, and now your team doesn't have a pusher, and now you can only push one wave, so they can sit 4 heroes in the wave that you're pushing and not feel any pressure to go somewhere else. So there's obvious problems with your team, and the way that you were playing made it more difficult, and you weren't playing off the people that were actually going to do something, like your Centaur, when he was actually fighting somebody. But I think as a support, having at least the option to help in these lower level games, pushing when your teammates aren't paying attention, means that you have a lot more agency or building to kill people that you need to be able to kill to give your pushing heroes more agency will help you win the game. But right now, they just pushed faster than you. And even though you killed them a bunch in the early game, they just outscaled. And you lost all your towers because you can't push them back. Hopefully this helps you improve, and maybe you can start doing some ranked games. You should do okay. It might be more frustrating. You might get better opponents, but you'll probably get better teammates. So good luck, and let me know if you need any more help.